Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk, brought to you by the Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Today, we've got a jam-packed show for you today. What a show. Jeff Okudah, mystery solved? I think so. And we're going to get into that really, really quickly. All kinds of fallout from the Rod Wood presser. All kinds of Detroit Lions news and rumors today. We have a packed show. Question of the day, dessert from my friend Curt. Oh, speaking of Curt, we're going to get to him right now.
Hey, welcome to the show, people. You know who we are. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl, your home for Detroit Lions news. Join the family. Subscribe to the channel. Join us weekdays, 11 a.m. right here on this channel for premieres of the show. You can chat with us. Get the super chats in so you get your comments right up front, right where you want them. Comment on the videos, like the video, share the videos. All of this helps us get this content to more Lions fans just like yourself. So let's get this thing started right now.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are going to go diving in right now to Jeff Okudah, mystery solved. And up first is Curt.
Okay, what was the big mystery with the third overall pick in the draft, first round, Jeff Okudah with the Lions? Now, he had sustained an injury and was not able to open up and go full speed for most of the year. This was something that was a issue with the Lions. If you look at him, he had the double moves that was his kryptonite this year, or just flat out getting beat in the open field where receivers were just running past him. So why was he not able to get up to full speed? Well, he had a lingering groin injury, so that could have been fixed. So Jim, what do you think about that? What you got on the injury on the injury front for him? Yeah,
this is amazing. He disclosed this in an interview, and this is an amazing thing because he's taken a lot of heat, even from us this year, about Okudah's a bust and he's not good. He's just too slow. Well, he said he wasn't able to open up, and this injury has been lingering. He said he had it in the summer, and they were talking about surgery in the summer before the season even started. And he says that, and I think about every play that I watched him where he couldn't like keep up, or he couldn't his double moves. Of course, he couldn't do that if he can't explode out of that thing and have any makeup speed whatsoever. He can't go full speed. This would have been a really nice thing for the Lions to disclose as an organization. But that poor kid had to be put through a lot of stuff just because of the fact that they don't like to disclose their injuries, because it gives them some advantage. This 5-11 team gives them an advantage for some reason to tell us anything. I totally disagree with the Lions culture that way. I don't like it whatsoever. And I also think it's just terrible on them. But this injury was from the summer.
The summertime. That means
the season even started.
Think about this, and that's where the detriment to that Lions rookie class really hurt them. If you look at that, you're talking about summertime. They didn't have any OTAs or rookie mini camps or anything like that, so they weren't able to, get in there and figure those things out, where that could have been identified and shut down. And to be honest with you, he shouldn't have even played until probably mid-season, if at all. If something that required him to have surgery. So, I mean, that is a terrible decision. And if you look at the presser, you can go on DetroitLions.com and listen to the interview yourself. He spoke of dysfunction in the organization. And one thing he talked about was having a hidden agenda. And we'll talk about dysfunction. You talk about the coaching staff that was there and the individuals that really kind of that led to him not having the procedure, a hidden agenda where you can say, well, we really don't want our first overall, pick in the draft, the guy that we drafted so high not to play this season. So, I mean, you can look at that and be like, oh, okay, come on, man. You got to give the kid a chance to heal. You didn't give him a chance to succeed, bringing him into the fold in this first season injured. If it's that serious, we had to have a surgery that could have been done in the summertime. That was a significant injury that should have been handled prior to the season even starting. He shouldn't have been on the field this year. I mean, he should have been an Austin Bryant type of guy where he just comes in and has shut him down, and how the fan base is in Detroit, because I tell you how the fan base is in Detroit because I'm proud of it. We are hard, especially when you get a guy who you pick so high and he doesn't succeed and you just kind of toast him because he didn't play up to par. But who knows that reason because of the Lions are so tight-lipped. That was a terrible decision on whoever made that decision, whoever was a part of that, of hiding that and not disclosing that injury to Jeff Okudah. And to be honest with you, now that he said that, there could be some action taken by the league because it didn't disclose an injury to a player.
Yeah, it's a different thing, though. They can say he has a groin injury on the injury report, which they did because he missed the first game of the season.
Yeah.
But this is deeper. This is something that it's not that they covered up the injury, but they didn't. They covered up the severity of the injury.
The severity of the injury.
Yeah, in my
injury.
opinion.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I don't get that because think about this. You don't know, and we don't know. Going long term, if this could be a problem for the rest of his career, or this could shorten his career because he played on an injury that could have been fixed months and months ago.
Yeah, he did say though that he should be ready for off-season workouts.
Yeah, he did say that,
and I'm hoping because he's young that he'll be able to heal from this.
Yeah,
and be okay. It's not like it's a structural thing. I don't think.
Yeah,
so I think it'll be all right.
It's muscular,
Yeah,
it's I just really I feel for the young man because he was put in a position that he shouldn't have been put in coming to his rookie season in the league, where he was just really thrown to the wolves and he wasn't 100% to play. He should have had that surgery in the offseason where he could have been, even if he didn't play the whole season, could have played half the season and it could have been something better for his rookie season. So now you have a whole bunch of the whole fan base looking at him like he's just a bust. It's because we think he just sucks because he just came out of Ohio State and didn't cover anybody while he was there. And I want to mention a recipe for failure right there.
I want to mention the Dern. The Dern has said this whole time that Okudah is going to be good. He was good. He is. He's going to take time. You know what? This could be the reason that he wasn't good. We touched on that. But going forward, do we have a lot more there than what we thought? If he's not a bust, and he could be one of the top cover corners in the entire league at some point, that's an excellent draft pick.
Yeah. And then mixing him in with the growth of Amani Oruwariye, we could build on that going forward.
Yeah. The defense may not. I mean, it's bad, but Danny Shelton, I think, is a bright spot. Penasini, I think, is a bright spot. We don't know what we have in Julian Okwara either. So, going forward, we'll see how this all works out. Now we're going to go into, unless you have anything more on this.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. But we're going to go into the Rod Wood presser now.
Yeah.
And, what do you got for us, Curt? There's a couple of things. Right. There's a ton of things we're taking away from this. So we're going to go through it step by step.
Couple of things. Okay. Looking at the takeaway from the Rod Wood presser, praises Bevel. And I get what he's saying. He said he was kind of handicapped coming into that position where he took over in a really bad predicament, COVID season. And then the culture in the team was very terrible. And then he came in with a very tough schedule at the end of the season, plenty of injuries. And then all of a sudden the COVID thing happens right before the Bucks game. So he praises Bevel for his efforts and the players playing hard for him here in Detroit. And also a couple of things that came out of that. that presser is the 7 GM candidates that they have interviewed in Detroit, which includes 3 internal, but they says they're not done yet and there's more to come. So what do you think about those 2 things, Jim? The first praising Bevel, and then the 7 GM candidates that they've interviewed so far.
He's being kind to Bevel. I totally think that. I think that they're going to give him a courtesy interview, but I don't think he's the guy. I don't think anybody thinks he's the guy.
Not for Detroit, no.
No, but you know, it was cool to give him his props. He did a pretty decent job with what he had left. I mean, there wasn't much left, so
yeah,
that's another thing.
It was kind of bad. It was kind of bad. Yeah.
So he also goes into the head coaches that they've already interviewed. Marvin Lewis, who I really don't want for Detroit. I'm just being honest with you. It's not a name that I want. 7 times he tried to get to the win a playoff game and failed in every one of them. And Eric Bieniemy is another guy that they've already interviewed, and Daryl Bevel. So those 3 guys they've already interviewed, and they have more on the slate for this week.
Yeah. I know Salah's going to be coming up pretty soon as well.
Pretty soon too.
Yeah. And I think that I've heard some interesting takes on a few of these guys. I know the Bieniemy is a hot name, of course. And he's already interviewed for the Falcons as well. And I heard this, and I'm gonna have to be totally transparent with our audience. And I heard something that was disturbing to me, and I read something on Twitter, and I was like, no, it was Facebook. I'm sorry. And I was like, come on, man, you have to have a better take than that. The guy didn't like. He said he didn't like Salah because he's not a good candidate. What does he offer the Detroit besides being from Dearborn and being Middle Eastern or being Lebanese or whatever, however he said it? And I was like, dude, that's terrible. That is you can have your own opinion. And I get that, but why bring his background in it? Why bring his nationality in it? He's a good coach. He's a good defensive coordinator out there in San Francisco. And he's done an amazing job this season just with the amount of injuries and the amount of talent that he's missing on that defense. Yes, but why bring that up about a coaching candidate? That makes no sense. That individual, and I'm not going to even give you the courtesy of putting your name out there because I don't want to give you more shine than this right here. Shame on you and shame on your thought process.
Absolutely. What does that have to do with anything? I mean, your background does affect you in how you think and how this other stuff, but it doesn't affect how you are as an individual human being and how you coach a team. Come on now.
That was terrible.
That was evolved terrible. From that, I thought, but I don't know.
Apparently not. Yeah,
apparently not.
All right, looking at another thing that kind of came out of that Rod Wood presser, Chris Billman. Chris Billman has been in on every interview of the 3 internal of every person except for the 3 interviews that were done before he got there, the internal candidates, right? So Spillman has been in on every interview since he's been there. And he would backtrack and talk to the internal candidates one-on-one once he was actually in the building. So what has he brought to the team since he's been there? Spillman has some great energy in the building, brings a lot of info on the candidates. He does his homework. If you looked at the presser right after he took the job, he has tons and tons of notebooks and notes and about how organizations run. So he knows the game of football on the field side, and now he's being a student of the game on the other side. I've said that before. I liked his approach to being a student of the game holistically, where he looks at the organization, how it runs, and what it can do to be improved. So I think he's bringing that to the table. So I'm really still excited about the Chris Spillman hire, and what Rod Wood said yesterday really just cemented what I thought already.
Same here on Spielman, but Spielman, his brother Rick is the GM of the Minnesota Vikings. So It's not like they don't talk a lot, and I bet you that he's picked up or gleaned some things from him as well.
Yeah.
During the time he was with Fox and during the time that he's been GM, so I don't think he's totally clueless on what's going on in the front office.
I think. Teams. Well, I think all that stops now.
All that
help stops now.
Yeah, I think the help stops now.
It's a wrap on that one.
So there was a question brought up in the press conference: why are you interviewing head coaches? And I'm going to give my take on this. I'll let Curt give his take too. But what Rod Wood said is, we are not wed to a structure. We're not wed to a GM first. It'll be no. Okay, that's the two things right there. So my take on that is, I don't like it. I hate it with every fiber of my being. I hate it because there's some things coming up in the show that we're going to go over that I'll comment more then, I think, than I'll comment now. But I just want to say this: what GM wants to come to this organization and not have a choice, his own choice for who the coach is going to be? It hurts our chances in getting people unless that GM already likes that coach, unless, whatever. But he also said something really interesting that I probably should have highlighted instead. He said there's going to be no surprise who we hire on both ends. So I'm taking out of this that it's going to be somebody that we already believe it could be, like maybe Salah for head coach and maybe Rick Smith for GM. I believe that. And I think if there was any weakness in Rick Smith's game, it may have been hiring coaches. And maybe if they took that out of his hands and just let him do and he agrees to it, just let him do what he does best. You know what I'm saying? Getting players in there and undrafted free agents, all that stuff. Maybe that's not a terrible thing, but that's.
Well, think about this with Rick Smith. And here's the irony of that situation for me. You hired the guy who took your job.
That's true. Bill O'Brien.
You hired the guy who took your job.
Yeah.
What kind of slap in the face is that?
That's bad.
That is horrible.
That's horrible.
That is horrible.
But that's how life works, though. I think.
Sometimes craps happens, man. I get it. Sometimes it's how the cookie crumbles, but that is think about that. The guy that you hired took your job while you were out on medical leave for your wife having breast cancer.
That's awful.
You come back to work and he's taking your job, your responsibility.
That's awful in the organization too.
Yeah, the McNairs, they definitely screwed the pooch on that one.
But another thing he said that was interesting, it says, if we find the perfect head coach, we will not wait. There's 7 other teams that are looking for, or maybe there's more, but there's a lot of teams looking for a head coach right now. And I think because we've already interviewed some of them, maybe it's Eric Bieniemy. Maybe he already has that in mind. The thing is, if that's the case, right, maybe we shouldn't wait on a head coach.
Yeah, I get what he's saying, because
I do.
If you look at it, it's a lot of competition for head coaches this year. It's really twofold, because there's a lot of competition for GMs as well, but I think there's a smaller pool for the head coaches. So there's this big pool for GMs, but there's a smaller pool for the head coaches.
I agree.
So that may be a thing where they're like, look, man, screw that. We'll discuss it with the candidates, but these are the guys that we have in mind. And, what do you think about this guy when they interview GMs? And if they are on par with that, that may be a disqualifying thing for the next head coach. For the next GM. These are, because they're giving them, these are our guys on our short list for our head coach. What do you think about these guys? Because this is who we want to hire. We've done our interview with them already. What do you think? And just because the talent pool for the head coaching is so slim this year, I can see that. I can see where it may be a fact where they want to hire the coach and have that guy locked in prior to hiring the GM, and the GM going to have to either get on board and keep it moving. So, and that's not fair to the GM. I get that 100%, but with the small amount of talent pool for the head coaching this year, I could understand why they will go with that direction.
I'm going to switch this. I'm going to go to a positive point on having the head coach first. because then your GM has longevity. He's not tied to that coach.
Mm-hmm.
That coach has to perform because he never chose him.
Yep.
So it's not his guy. They're not tied to the hip. It's not on a situation like it's been over and over again where the general manager's got to go because he picked the wrong head coach.
Yep.
The organization picked the head coach.
Yep.
So
now the
general
the
manager
guy,
does not have to be fired.
If the head coach gets fired, the next guy that the general manager hired, that he'll be tied to that person.
Yeah, but the criticism about this team has been every 5 years we kind of get rid of the GM and we kind of get rid of the coach.
Yeah.
And so the GM would have and that didn't happen with Quinn per se.
A longer tenure. I get what you're saying.
They could have a longer tenure and be building that roster, you know, while they go. You know what I mean? Not specifically for that head coach, but you know, building that roster, building talent, which is something we just don't do. We build everything for the head coach.
Definitely. Because
just,
that's
these are the
exactly
talented players.
That's exactly what Bob Quinn did for Matt Patricia. He gave him exactly what he wanted, and which was Patriots garbage.
Yeah, maybe that's not what we should do.
No. Okay, and the things that have changed. He said it was only Bob Quinn and Rod Wood who interviewed coaches only. This time you have other people and more people involved in the interviews for the head coaching position. And I look at it like this. Bob Quinn knew who we wanted to hire when he came to Detroit.
Yep.
He already knew it. He didn't get him the first year because he kind of like, well, let's kind of just let him play it out. He had a winning season before, so let's kind of just play it out. Let him get another year until I get my guy that I want. Okay, you didn't go to the playoffs, so you're 9-7, so I can axe you and bring in the guy that I want. Hey, Rod Wood, this is my thought process. I want this guy. We worked together well in New England before. He's a proven winner as a defensive coordinator. So this is the guy I'm going to hire. Okay, you know, cool. Okay, we'll bring in a couple guys to interview to kind of go through the process, and we will just, excuse me, my French, we will go through the Rooney Rule. You know, we'll just kind of crap on that. We'll just interview some guys to say we did the process of going through the Rooney Rule guidelines, and this is who we're going to hire. So, you know, so Rod was, you know, being a novice president. Well, okay, you know, that's what you want. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm here with you. You know about more about this stuff than I do. So that's a bad predicament for the Lions leadership at that point. You know, Martha Ford and those guys just kind of gave Bob Quinn total anonymity and you know, autonomy, and he was like, "You just do what you do." We kind of have Rod Wood over here just to kind of be in the mix because you know you can't just do it by yourself. But we'll put him over there and let him just kind of just sit there. He's in the meeting with you, but you hire who you want to hire. Bob Quinn, you got the reins. You bring in who you want to bring in, and that's a detriment, and that's a good old boy network thing, and that's one of the problems with the NFL as holistically, because of the fact that that's why we have to have the Rooney Rule in the first place.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Well, one more thing, I didn't put this down, but one more thing that I saw in that he was asked about the Detroit versus everybody thing, pretty much. He was asked about the officiating. He was asked about, you know, why the Lions didn't get that 1-day extension. And he said, hey, you know what? They treated Denver worse than us because Denver had to go to get a practice squad wide receiver to play quarterback.
You know what? I did not think. As much as it pissed me off about that stuff, I didn't think about that at all. I have to give Rod Wood credit because that is one team that kind of screwed them over as well.
Did. The other thing is, though, he brought up, you know, the refereeing and stuff like that, and saying that he does have a good relationship with the league. But he also mentioned that it doesn't look like that. He said that several times. I know it doesn't look like it, but no, it doesn't look like it. I'm telling you, it doesn't. I mean, we get screwed so much.
It doesn't pass the eyeball test.
It does not.
It does not.
Let's get into these comment cards before we have too much, Shogun.
Okay.
Crazy Lions fan, one pride all day. What a says, I don't care who the GM is. I kind of do, but you know. I just want them to bring respectability back to Detroit. God, what a statement. Respectability back to Detroit.
Respectability. We haven't had that in 30 years, man.
We haven't had that since, you're right about that.
30 years.
You're right. You're right. Even when Calvin was here, they diss us all the time.
Yeah.
All you have to do is listen to a broadcast one time on Fox.
Yeah.
You can see him rooting for the other team. They'll put all the facts out about the other guys and how Green Bay's so wonderful and we're beating them at the time, but they know we're going to lose. So they,
it's already mixed in, already baked in goodness. All right. Rod Love 313 says, I really like Rick Smith as a GM, but how do you guys feel about Marvin Lewis as a coach? We do not. Have you feeling about him since you mentioned he was interviewed, and we do not, I'm sorry. We did not have a feeling about Marvin Lewis. We both have said that's a hard pass for both of us.
It's a hard pass
on Marvin Lewis.
Okay, the Lions haven't won a playoff game since 1991, and you want to bring in a guy that's lost 7 playoff games and never won one.
Yeah.
Well, it's the perfect match if you don't want to win. Trust me.
Yeah. Pass.
Pass. Rusden Sabile says, listen to the Ken Brown and the O'Hara podcast. Ken believes the next GM will be Kevin Colbert.
Wow.
Okay. I've not listened to that, but that's an interesting take.
Have the Lions interviewed Kevin Colbert for that?
No, they haven't. Not to my knowledge, and he's not on the schedule to my knowledge either.
Kevin Colbert? First of all, that hasn't been a name that's been mentioned around the league in a while.
No, it hasn't.
I like Mike O'Hara. I mean, he's a great beat writer for the Lions, and I haven't listened to that podcast, but I mean, that's a very interesting take. I don't know how much how valid that point is, but yeah, it is what it is. All right. Will Morales, I think it's how you say his name. I heard there's a rumor that the Lions offered Jim Harbaugh and Jay Gruden a deal.
Like they give him full control. And
stuff. So you gave him a Jay Gruden deal. Man, I don't know about that one.
I don't think they did. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they were interested in Harbaugh the whole time.
I don't think so either. I think they looked to him and
they didn't even interview him, did they?
I think that no, they haven't. And I think that looking at that situation, I don't even think he's being mentioned for the Lions. I think that he was missing for if they get rid of Chicago, moves on from Nagy or it was other teams that he was in consideration for him, but not Detroit.
But I thought, isn't he in talks, or didn't he sign an extension with Michigan? Something like that.
I think he's in talks with an extension to stay at Michigan. I think, actually, to be honest with you, I think he stays at Michigan because I think he wants to turn it around.
His name was really hot for a minute in the NFL, and then all of a sudden it just died. It
fizzled. Yeah.
So I think he's going to stay at Michigan as well.
Yeah.
L. Robert Kendall, very intellectual person, we can tell. You think that the NFL has a bias against the Lions? Possibly this is not as much of an NFL issue as maybe a culture among officiating group that is the core of this. Much like police enforcement, bias can exist irrespective of the police policy of the governing body.
Wow.
That's interesting, but I have this
interesting take.
I have this thing though. If it's a bias against a certain team, like it would be, I really like this take. God, I like this take.
Yeah.
If it's like police enforcement, and the inference here is profiling. I really believe that, and I think that exists 100%. I know it exists. I've watched it. I've seen it. I think it's awful, but it exists. Is the Lions a team like that where officials look at us like we're the Lions, and because we're the Lions, this is the predetermined thing that they look at? Is it the pre-judgment on officiating and not the NFL guideline? Wow. Ooh,
you know what though? I have a different take on that one.
Okay.
I kind of take it to the NBA where the Lions aren't good enough to get the star calls. In the NBA, some stars get the calls, and or they never foul out, or So
but we're not talking about just calls. We're talking about outright getting screwed.
Yeah,
you take two individuals, right? That's going to get pulled over by the police. Yeah. One individual is profiled, and because of their race, one other people are not. And the difference between how they are treated is night and day. And we both agree on that. I mean,
definitely
is what it is.
We agree on that wholeheartedly.
But that's what I'm seeing with the Lions, though. I'm seeing they're treating the New England's, the Green Bay's certain way, as a certain type of organization. And then they view the Lions as another type of organization. And they call that, and they treat them more harshly because of that judgment. At least that's the way I see it.
I get that view, but I'm taking it as a view of like, you have two players in an NBA game. Okay, you got LeBron versus Sekou, right? LeBron's going to get the call, and Sekou's not going to get the call because LeBron deserves that call because he's a star player, and Sekou's not a star, so he's not going to get that call. He's going to get called for a charge and not go to the line.
No, I agree with that take too. Yeah. Now that's a possibility as well. So we've not done anything for so long, but should there be a bias? And
no, it should not be. It should be.
Should there be either way? Either way you look at it,
it's a bad situation.
That type of bias.
Yeah, it should not be that
in any way. But that's just
nice take though. I appreciate that. L. Roberts Kendall.
Take. I really do.
All right, last one. Mike and Chris G says you are 100% right, Jim. Just leave the field. Wow.
What else can you do?
What else can you do?
If they're going to give another team the game, you might as well just say, "Hey, you succeeded. Bye."
Yeah.
And all as a unit walk right off the field and say, we've had enough.
Yep. That's very true.
I don't know. I don't know if it would ever happen, but it honestly it'd be something to see. I'd like it because we could report on it, but
of course,
selfishly. Okay. Let's go into the news and rumors. We're going to move right along. This show is just jam-packed today. Calvin Johnson among 15 finalists for the 2021 Pro Football Hall of Fame. It'll be February 6th when will be announced. It's one day prior to the Super Bowl. Do you think he gets in first ballot?
You know what? I didn't think so, but I look at the other wide receiver that's a finalist, and that's Reggie Wayne. The only distinguishing mark between Reggie Wayne and Calvin Johnson is Calvin Johnson had better numbers for his career. He didn't win a Super Bowl, but that was about it. But if you look at up and down the list of career marks, Calvin Johnson had a better career than Reggie Wayne,
and a shorter career. The only caveat to that is Reggie Wayne played with Marvin Harrison most of his career in Indianapolis. So that's true.
But I think with those two being finalists, I think he has a shot.
I agree.
I think it's going to be one of those. It's going to be a big name. It's just going to be a plethora of stars is going to be elected to the Hall of Fame this year. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be hard to look at the guys that are finalists. It's going to be hard to leave any of those guys off that list this year.
It will.
We might have a really big Hall of Fame class,
like 8.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. Look at that list. It's going to be hard to do.
Tough.
It is going to be so tough. I do not.
But Calvin Johnson's a big name too.
Yeah, I do not envy the Hall of Fame voters this year. I don't envy them at all because
me neither. It's a huge.
It's going to be some It's going to be some backlash. Whoever doesn't make it, it's going to be some backlash on the Hall of Fame voting committee this year.
Do I think he makes it this year? I don't. I think they have, like you said, it's so deep. I don't think a wide receiver goes this year.
If it doesn't, I don't think if he doesn't go, I don't think Reggie Wayne goes as well either.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I think too.
All right. PFF lists Detroit's GM job as the least attractive among vacancies. 7 GM vacancies around the leagues. The Lions, the Jaguars, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Texans, the Broncos, and the Washington football team, WFT. Mike Renner ranks us last because of the lack of blue chippers on the roster and the Matthew Stafford dilemma. That's an interesting take. I would say I mean, there's plenty of teams on that. I mean, there's not a lot of blue chippers on the Jags. There's not a lot of blue chippers on the Panthers.
Right. I agree with this. And
the Broncos as well.
But you know what?
I mean,
it says if PFF lists this as the least attractive, okay, PFF is one organization that kind of ranks things and whatever. Mike Renner, that he does have a big name in PFF, but PFF's not the begin all end all.
Nah,
but I will say this was what I was going to bring up before with Rod Wood, is that if it is the least, if this is true, if people think this, right, league wide, and this is the least attractive job, then why would you go ahead and hire a head coach and say that the GM has no say in that if the guy really wants to turn this around and bring in his guys? But I've thought about that as we've been doing the show even, and I've come to the conclusion that if the head coach is already in place and he's a dynamic head coach, the GM can only benefit from that because he doesn't have to be, he can build his team his way.
Yep.
And not really be tied to the hip on the head coach. So I actually don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions signed 5 players to the reserve future deals, and this happens right at the end of the season every year. But they are wide receiver Victor Bolden and Tom Kennedy, guard Evan Brown, safety Jalen Elliott, linebacker Anthony Pittman. So that is the people that will be a part of the eventual 90-man roster come spring. And there's going to be so many changes to this. So it's a slight news thing there.
Yeah, this is very, very slight. These guys weren't even on the active roster this year. So, I mean, they were practice squad players. So, it is what it is. All right. The Lions report to have 4 GM candidates this week. They have to be interviewing. We've covered most of these guys. Terry Fontenot, Brad Holmes, George Patton, and one guy we did not cover, Jeff Ireland.
We'll cover Jeff Ireland tomorrow. Just so you know. So we'll take care of that for you. Rod Wood suggests a list of GM and head coaches that have been it's been finalized, but I think that he meant in his mind, his list, he hasn't put all the list out to us yet and all the people that he's going to interview, but I think he has finalized his list. Yeah. But I don't think they're all out there. So head coaching candidates, Marvin Lewis, Chiefs offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, the interim Darrell Bevell, Robert Salah of the 49ers, 40-winers, as I always say, Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, and the Saints assistant head coach Dan Campbell, which I've heard a lot about the other two. That's pretty good. We have not covered them.
Yeah, Arthur
GM
Smith
candidate.
is interesting.
Oh, go ahead.
Arthur Smith is interesting. If we can have that type of offense, where we can get a running game like that with some big receivers. Awesome? Ooh, I would like that. Okay, go ahead, man.
Lions GM candidates. VP player of personnel, Kyle O'Brien. This is in the Lions organization internally. We went over Lance Newmark and Rob Lohman already. So director of player personnel, Lance Newmark, pro scouting. I think they all should be gone. That's just my personal opinion. I do. I don't think we should give them a chance at all. And it's not mean. It's just that I don't think that they deserve that.
It is
being
what
here
it is.
so long and not having anything done. Eagles director of pro personnel, Louis Riddick, also ESPN name. And I kind of go back and forth on this guy, but I don't want him as a head coach. I just don't, or a GM. I don't. I don't think the experience is there for me. Yeah, that's just how I feel. Texans GM Rick Smith, who I really like. Former Atlanta Falcons assistant Scott Pioli, who has too much New England influence for me. Former Falcons GM Thomas Dimitroff, Saints VP assistant GM of pro personnel Terry Fontenot, Saints VP assistant GM of college personnel Jeff Ireland, Rams director of college scouting is Brad Holmes, Vikings assistant GM George Patton, and the Seahawks executive VP John Schneider. Now, if you're not familiar with any of these candidates, we do have a playlist, GM search playlist, and the only person that we don't have on there is 2, Kyle O'Brien, I believe, and Jeff Ireland are the only 2 we haven't done. So we'll get those done for you real soon. And so you can have a complete list and a complete dive into each one of these people so you know a little bit more about them.
Yeah, we're going to get that information out to you really, really soon. Now it is time for the question of the day. Jim, what you got?
Oh, question of the day. There could be so many for this, but I'm going to ask you this question. What do you think of hiring a head coach first? Do you think it's a good thing, bad thing? Do you think it hampers the GM? Do you think it actually enhances the GM position? What do you think about that? And that's my question of the day. Please answer that below the video, right down there. So we'll get those, and then we can put them in the comment cards for tomorrow. Now we come to my favorite part of the show, the dessert with my friend Curt.
All right. So we missed this yesterday, but I would be remiss if we did not bring it up today. If you don't know, yesterday was the 29th anniversary of our last playoff win in that divisional playoff game against the Dallas Cowboys, where we trumped them 38-6. 29 years since we had our last playoff win. So that is a dessert. You know,
that's a cold dish, Curt.
That is a cold dish. But you know what, though? We brought in some people who can try to help us get back to that, with Chris Spillman and having Barry Sanders back on the staff, because they were on that team. So hopefully they can help us get back to that. So that's my dessert, is the 29th anniversary yesterday of the last Lions playoff victory. And hopefully we can get back there really, really soon.
Okay. What a show today. There was so much here today. So much good stuff. Can't wait till they unveil either the head coach or the GM. That's going to be amazing. Thank you for everybody who's rocking with us. I want to say thank you to the intern, which we're going to be kind of unveiling here after a while. We have an intern that's helping us with some of the stuff that we do and some research stuff. So really appreciate Chris coming on board with us. And we'll be talking a little bit more about him as the days develop and things go. But we really appreciate every single person here rocking with us. Appreciate you being in the comments and liking the video, sharing the videos, subscribing to the channel. Welcome to the family. We have about 20, 30, 40 more of you in the last couple of days. So really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button, but don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when there's new content coming out from us at Detroit Lions on the Prowl. But I appreciate each and every one of you. And to close the show, I'm going to throw it to my man, Curt.
Hey, you know what it is. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl, your home for Detroit Lions news. And as Jim said, definitely join us every day, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on our channel for the premieres. And you can get your comments right up top when you join the super chats and subscribe. Definitely join the family. We appreciate all the family members that we have right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. And as always, we know what we want you to do. Whatever you do in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. Now, one more thing. Congratulations again to my man, Calvin Johnson, for making the finalists for the Hall of Fame. Big shout out to my man Megatron for doing his things for so many years right here in the Honolulu Blue and Silver. For my man Jim, right here for Detroit Lions on the Prowl, this is Curt Steele, and we will holler at you real soon.